Everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and it is currently October 2021, but today I am going to show you some yarn that was dyed in the fall of 2019. Actually, some even in the summer before Lucas, who is now in second grade, started kindergarten. The kids dyed some yarn with food coloring and sprinkles in a little play date that we had. It was a lot of fun, and so that wasn't filmed, but I wanted to dye some complementary yarn to the multicolored yarn the kids created so I could make them some hats. And so now we're gonna go back in time and think more about those hats. Lucas, what's your favorite color?
All of them except gray, black, and white. One of my favorites is brown because, well, can you guess what my last name is?
Yes, I know, I gave you your name.
It's Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucas, if you had to pick one color, what one color would you want?
Oranges.
Orange, deal.
Mm-hmm.
Ryder, what's your favorite color?
Green.
Do you want a green hat?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, awesome. Mwah! I thought I was gonna have the kids actually help me mix the colors, but they've been so wild these last few days that there's no way. No way they're doing it. And I need to get these hats made because it's cold. So therefore, I am going to try to do this myself. And by try, I mean, I know I can do it myself, but that's why that's happening. I am dying to knit some new winter hats for my boys. They need it. Lucas right now is wearing one of Keith's hats that I made for him, and Ryder is either wearing one of two hats that are a little too small, but he's very attached to them. They also have both strongly been requesting rainbow, and so I have this remnant yarn that I used in a previous Dying to Knit project. Honestly, I love that hat that I made so much that I might want to make that same hat again, but again, I haven't decided. These yarn cakes each represent 100 grams of yarn, and that is too much yarn for a hat for the kids, especially if I'm blending it with another color. So my plan is to actually go ahead and make these cakes smaller. I am actually going to wind off probably around 30 grams into just a hank, so that way I can dye that a more semi-solid in the darkest color, and then the rest will become that gradient. This will allow me to use some of the dark color maybe as a pom-pom on top, as a contrasting color on the bottom edge maybe. So maybe we'll do some mittens eventually. It gives me some more options to have something that matches these hats I'm gonna create. We've now got two 70-gram yarn cakes, and I just need to wait for the kids to get home from school so we can mix their colors and add these to the dye pot. I know Lucas wants an orange and Ryder wants a green, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make that happen for them. I'm adding on some of my white reusable nylon zip ties. They have picked up a lot of color over the time, but I don't seem to see that color leaking out. If you want to learn more about any of the items that I'm using in this video, you can find affiliate links in the video description. There is no pre-soaking today because I'm going to add all of this to the dye pots dry. Now the cakes, I took the yarn from the middle as I was winding this, and they are now super loose, and I'm gonna just leave it like that. There's no point in rewinding them when they're already this loose, and I'm okay if it's a more subtle type gradient. Lucas's orange should be pretty easy. Right now in the pot I have 16 cups of water, and I am gonna add a half cup of my 1% stock solution of Saffron Spice, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous orange that even a non-orange loving person like myself really likes. Half a cup is around 120 milliliters of color. There is no acid in here yet. And honestly, it's looking a tiny bit cloudy, so something might not be completely dissolved, but we are gonna go for it and add our cake and skein. So as I said, there is no acid in here yet. And what a time for a phone call. Okay, I actually needed to take that phone call, but I continued to press the yarn into the pan as I was doing it because, well, that's what needed to happen. But once everything was in the pot, then we were gonna wait 10 minutes to add some vinegar. All right, and now I'm just gonna add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. I could start slower, but I have a feeling we're getting decent color penetration here. I'm not sure if I might want to add more color. A 1% DOS seems like it should be fine, but I will flip this a bit, and now we're gonna wait 20 minutes. I moved Lucas's to another burner so I could start on Ryder's. Once again, we're starting with 16 cups of water and no acid. And into our half cup, I'm adding some 1% forest green. So that's maybe like a third of this half cup. And then filling the rest up with some sour apple. Ooh, that's actually a really, really pretty green. I thought I might want to add some blue, but now I don't know if I need to. But I will rinse out this forest green bottle into our pot. Let's not leave any dye behind. And now, with our heat on, we are going to add Ryder's yarn to our pot. And again, I don't think we're going to get like an extreme gradient because these yarn cakes are so light. But we will press it in and slowly get this submerged over the next 10 to 12 minutes or so. Okay, we are still heating up, and I'm now going to add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar to our pot so we can start to absorb this color. The reason behind waiting is that it allows some color to penetrate towards the center. And I'm glad that all the color will be getting deeper because this feels around the saturation of the green that Ryder has made for himself already. So yeah, I am happy, and I think he will be really excited for his green. After 20 minutes, all of the color has absorbed, and I'm going to turn off the heat. It could be more pigmented, but I think that this is a color that Lucas will love. And I did peek inside the cake, and I do know that we have a very, very subtle gradient going on. And so now, and we're steamy. I am going to let this cool completely in the pot. We are going to go see Frozen tonight, and I am so excited. A nice, beautiful, deep green for Ryder that should play well with the white and purple and other green yarn that he created himself. And I think we should be able to create some really fun hats for the boys, maybe some mittens or something. I've got that extra, so we've got space and room to play. Now here as well, I have turned off the heat, and I'm gonna let everything cool off in the pot. And let's go to the Frozen premiere. Well, not premiere, but it's the first showing. I'm excited. I'm wearing my Snow G leggings. Not that you can see. My Snow G leggings. Because it's really important you guys know how excited I am. Oh man. Editing Rebecca here. This video is all over the place. I feel like there's a lot of clips that I thought I took that I didn't take. I do remember that Keith was out of town and I was on or working late or something because I was taking the kids to the movies by myself. I miss going to the movies. I really miss going to the movies. But soon, hopefully soon. But anyway, I wasn't sure what I was going to knit back when I was filming this. I just thought that creating some kind of cake dyed gradient would be a lot of fun, because when you have your yarn wound into a ball or a cake like I showed here, you can get more access of the dye to the outside than the inside, which could give you a gradient that can be extreme or not. But since these cakes are so loosely wound, that means that the dye has an easier time penetrating towards the center. So, as I think I already mentioned, the gradients may not be that extreme. But I do have other examples of videos, of cake dyeing videos on the channel, where you can see more dramatic shifts. The water has cleared on both dye baths, and I am going to just carefully rinse all of our yarn. I don't want to vigorously wash because the cakes, I don't want them to fall apart, but I'm not expecting to see any bleeding at all. Yeah, there's no bleeding. Okay, I'm very carefully going to just rinse this one more time, put things through the spin dryer, and let it sit for a few days to dry so we can unravel the cakes. Now, normally, if I was then going to list something in my shop, I would wash it thoroughly at that point. But since I'm going to block these hats for my kids that I'm knitting, I might just wait and wash as I reach the blocking stage. I did the dyeing of all this yarn before Thanksgiving, and everything is completely dry because I just let it dry completely before Thanksgiving. My plan is still to gently wash things after I've done knitting because I need to start knitting because Ryder's hat is too small. Anyway, I'm excited. I love the orange that we got. The green, honestly, it could be brighter, it could be a little deeper, but Ryder really likes it and said, dark green, yay, when he saw it. The orange, and I'm gonna go ahead and unravel these just so we can see. We do have a nice gradient here. The green, I'm a little more curious. There's some paler green. I think the green is gonna be a lot more subtle than what we see with the orange. But let's go unravel it. I love how I made a mistake with my own yarn for my own project. The mistake I made was that when I wound these semi-solid skeins from the cakes themselves, I pulled it from the center, and then I left these really loose cakes. I should have either taken the yarn from the outside or rewound the cakes. That way I would have ended up with more of a gradient. There is definitely a gradient here, and then especially if you put the semi-solid on the outside of either of them, there's no question that we do see a gradient. It's just very subtle. Not bad, just subtle. And it's especially not bad because I'm planning on mixing this with some other yarn. Here is the yarn that Ryder dyed himself, and honestly, it looks great with that green. That will work really awesome. Lucas has a few more choices. I mean, this was technically a yarn mop. Let's see. This one he hand painted where he had full range and selection, and I think I want to go with this one. I mean, this one that he did with the Easter egg tie tablets is also really nice and really pretty. But I think I want to go like with this one because that's why like they dyed these at the same time. I think it'll be really nice. I mean, one of the main reasons why I wanted to dye a yarn to go with the yarns that the boys created was that this has so much white in it that I feel like he deserved like more color in whatever hat or whatever I make him. So I think my plan is to use, I'm going to save the semi-solids. I'm going to use the gradient yarn. I'm going to start with the orange or the green. And honestly, I can't decide if I want to do the ChemKnits ombre hat pattern or just do a simple striping pattern. Ooh, maybe I'll do the ombre. I think that'll be fun. It'll mix things up. Anyway, I'm going to go cake all of the yarn and start knitting. And when I come back, I'll show you what I created. It took me longer to knit the hats than I cared to admit. The design that I used is the ombre hat pattern. That is one that I designed. It's one I really like because the color work, there's really only two different types of rounds, and because of all the floats, it makes the hats really thick and warm. So it's one of my favorite hats to wear. Keith has one, the boys have theirs now too. But it took me a while to knit them. And then once I finally gave the kids the hat, I think I've probably posted some of these pictures over on Instagram, but the boys wore them all winter. They wore them in the snow, they wore them to school. There are a lot of masked photos because a lot of these photos were coming from fall of 2020 and then into winter, early winter of 2021. And the boys loved them, and they loved that they helped create the yarn that was in these hats, that they dyed that themselves, and it gave them some pride and ownership over them. And as you can see, they got a ton of use all winter. I have no longer, if they fit now, I'm potentially gonna have to make them new hats for this winter, or at the very least, they can probably wear hats that I've made for me and Keith. Their heads are big enough that I think that should work. Yeah, I'm gonna see if today I can attempt to get them to try on the hats, and so we can see what they have to say about them. But thank you so much for joining me on this really old journey, this really old video that I've taken so long to go back through and edit. And I do have some other projects that were filmed a long time ago that I'm now coming back to that footage to edit and finally share. And so please make sure that you are subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel so you never miss a new video and you can enjoy all of the fun. I have plans in the works for more projects that I want to make with my hand-dyed yarn. And I do have a playlist for Dyeing to Knit where I feature yarn that I'm dyeing for projects in mind, or maybe I'll include some projects that I make out of my hand-dyed yarn and do some vlogs about that as well. So yeah, let me know what you would like to see down in the comments below. And I'm really gonna have to start thinking about their hats for this year. Whoops. Thank you so much for watching. So, Lucas, what were you saying about it still being October and wearing a winter hat?
Winter hats aren't for October. They're for December. I'm not wearing one of these in my birthday month.
Okay. Well, it is probably 70 degrees outside right now, and you are wearing winter hats. Ryder, what if it were winter? Then what would you say?
I'll look for triceratops.
Okay, what would you say about the hat if it were snowy outside?
I'll put a dozen hats, and this would be the last hat I'll put on.
Oh, because you want everyone to see it? What do you like about this hat?
So cozy, I want to sleep on it. It'll be my pillow.
So, Lucas, do you think that this hat will work for you this winter?
Yep. And yep.
Well, Ryder, yours might be a little bit short because I made yours a little bit smaller, and you're bigger now. Lucas has some more space because I made his more of an adult size. Are you excited to show it to your friends?
I totally am.
Well, I mean, you guys did wear it all last winter, so you've shown it to your friends already, right?
But I wasn't here before.
That's true. You are now at the same school as Lucas.
I'm Lucas from ChemKnits, and I just turned 8. I'm Ryder from ChemKnits. I'm 5.5, and I'm almost 6.
Yeah, you are almost 6.
Yay.
And what do you say at the end of a ChemKnits video?
Thank you for watching. And we hope to see you in more Lucas Plus Ryder videos. Plus mine. That's right. Yes. Smash that subscribe button. Don't exactly smash the things. Don't smash your device. Just hit me. Press that subscribe button. Smash it. Don't smash your device. Thank you for watching the ChemKnits icon video. My hat's falling off.
Bye.